Skynexx sponsors beats.
What's up, YouTube's Dubk Dad. So let's talk about the problem with deck building now. Where to start? So you guys know I like to build creative decks. I don't generally like playing meta if I don't have to. And if I do play a meta deck, I like to put my own twist on it. But the problem is, in today's Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to draw 25 negates every turn. Run a guard dragon combo and end on negates. Or run a fistful of hand traps, be able to combo with one or two cards and the other four cards are hand traps in your opening hand. And that's just where the game is. So, the best decks for the longest time, toolbox interruptions, whether it be the form of searchable spell and trap interruptions or monsters that act as interruptions on your opponent's turn. So Salomon Great has Rage and Roar that they can toolbox to use on their opponent's turn, in addition to the 15 plus hand traps they run in their main deck. Sky Strikers no longer run hand traps, but they can toolbox Widow Anchors. All the Guard Dragon variants, whether it be Thunder or Dragon Link or whatever, in their board on Hot Red, Boral Savage, Crystal Wing, Heraldic Seal of Spheres. And every other deck is just left in the dust. We had Orcus with their Counter Trap and their Fog Blades. But now it seems like either you're getting the extreme to play a deck outside of those 3-4 decks. You have to get considerably lucky that your opponent doesn't have that one blowout card. Or you go second and you're just running a pure going second, break your opponent's board, and win. And while that's cool, game 2 they make you go first and you lose. You just go to game 3 and win again. But what happens if you're playing a mirror match of blind second decks? You lose game 1, win game 2, and lose game 3. So it's like I don't know. It's like I'm really stuck right now on building. There's a lot of really good engine cards, so I've been looking at Tinyi. They have a lot of good engine cards that can be splashed into other decks. I'm currently running some Tinyi cards in my Dragon Link. I didn't unside from the tournament the other day, but main deck, getting in the light here. Main deck Jara, or whatever his name is, Adara. And I don't know. It's become increasingly frustrating trying to build and keeping those things in mind so that you don't get blown out. You don't get blown out by random Utopia Lightning. You don't get blown out when your opponent full Guard Dragon combos you and you don't draw a hand sufficient to break their board. On the flip side, if you're the Guard Dragon player and your opponent draws a hand that breaks your board, you've already burned through 12 of your extra deck. 12 cards in your extra deck. You have 1 or 2 cards, or if any, in your hand, and you just can't come back. That happened to me at the tournament. I lost to Orcus Burning Abyss. Farfa was just Farfa and Alec destroyed my setup. So I got 2-0'd there. And then I got destroyed by Ritual Beast. Just because I couldn't kill him and just kept wearing my sources out. And he was using that little dolphin thing to bounce all my cards. And the guys, they just tag out and put up big walls and put up the big pink dolphin thing that can't be destroyed by card effects. And it tags out again and you can't attack them. And, they barely use any cards to start the combos. And so, yeah, it's like, and I know those are like one-offs here. Where are you going to go against a Ritual Beast deck? How often do Burning Abyss Orcus decks top? But the fact is that regardless of how consistent your deck is, you can just get blown out by a bunch of effects. And you have to run sufficient interruptions in your deck. And I don't know what to do. I'm not giving up on my Dragon Link deck. It's still really solid. All the other matches I won handily because it draws 35 negates every turn. God, I hate that so much. Such a stupid meme. But it puts up negates, lots of interruptions. I have a couple of follow-ups. Since I don't run rank 8s, I save my Legionnaires as like a follow-up for the second turn. So I end my board on Burl Savage, Hot Red, and the Sphere. And then bounce Sphere, get Brotar, Search, Legionnaire. You know what I'm saying? To as a follow-up in case they do break my board. But, as you can see here laid out, got some Crusadia pieces. Crusadia leads to Guard Dragon. It also, with the release of Ran Ryu, helps you go into more Guard Dragon plays. And also, you can randomly Utopia double your opponent. I'm starting to like that. I'd like to incorporate some Tinnies with it, just for the toolboxing. Their counter trap, while it's not the best, because it doesn't destroy the card, it is disruption, something that, like we spoke about, is desperately needed in this format in order to have a winning deck. Is this a shame that the Shaman put such a heavy restriction after you use her effect? You could only use Tinny monsters from the extra dex effects for the rest of the turn. There's also, I've been considering Shadal's, some type of Shadal anti-meta deck. But again, that deck doesn't have sufficient interruptions. You'd have to run so many traps and hand traps. And then that interferes with the Shadal. So like, what's your opening turn? Summon Mathematician, Sin, Falco, set a bunch of traps and pass. It's like 2015 tactics or whenever Shadal's came out. And I just don't think that that's good enough. I think Thunder Dragons would rip that apart. So then it comes, you could just run multiple super polys. And I thought about that. And that could be something. That could be the answer. I'm not a big fan of hand traps. I'm not a big fan of back row. But eventually I want to get back on the competitive circuit. I want to start going to regionals. I want to start getting some YCSs. I've topped multiple regionals, but I've never topped a YCS. And I want to get my mind in the right mindset to be able to top those types of events. I want to be able to have a deck that performs as well as a tier 1 deck, but looks nothing like a tier 1 deck. The element of surprise, having your opponent have to read your cards, not having effective side deck options. Those are like the key to winning events. In addition to knowing your deck, knowing your combos, knowing the different scenarios, and also having a sufficient side deck that complements your main deck and counters what you're expected to play. So down in the comment section, I want you guys to tell me, if you're trying to be competitive, what are you looking at? What are some of the issues you're running into? Are you having the same problems I'm having? Or are you just sticking to meta? Have you even noticed that is part of your deck building experience? You just like put together whatever you want, and then you're like, oh, why do I keep losing? Is this new information to you? I'm sure that some of this is new information to you. You just feel, well, these are big, strong monsters, not realizing that your monsters have to be able to interrupt your monsters, your cards have to significantly interrupt your opponent during their turn. Yu-Gi-Oh's about not letting your opponent play nowadays. It's no longer about putting B-sticks on the field. That's not scary. That doesn't win games. Yeah, you will win a game or two games. You might top your locals or win your locals. But 100 games straight of your deck and 100 games straight of a meta deck, just raw statistics will tell you, that your rock zombie spirit beatdown deck just does not sufficiently cut it in this meta. Well, that's all I got, guys. Dubk Dad, and I'm out.